بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Another confusion that we have in my family many times is the concept of backbiting, gheebat. Sometimes it gets confused with gossiping, or sometimes it gets confused with information that we hear about different family members. Can you elaborate maybe or define what's permissible in terms of talking about others? Whether is there a fine line where you can talk about different family members, or is it like we hear Allah talks in the Quran about the Prophet's sons and things of this nature? Can you just give us some sort of layman kind of definition in terms of ghibat and gossiping and in that regard?
So you're asking me whether ghibat sometimes is jaiz? No, I'm just joking about it. That wasn't your question. Well, I think defining ghibat is very important. What does backbiting mean in the Sharia? Ghibat means there is an individual who has done something wrong privately. Nobody knew about it. You come to know that, and then you expose that person. And that also in his absence, where he cannot defend himself or herself. That is ghibat. But if there is somebody who does something wrong publicly, so let's take the first example. Somebody unfortunately is into this issue of drinking alcohol, but he does it privately. You somehow come to know about it, and then you part of the community newsletter. That is haram. Because yes, this person is doing haram, but he is not publicly doing it. But when a person does something publicly, then ghibat doesn't count. It's no more ghibat. Because you are not exposing him or disclosing his weakness. He himself is doing it publicly. So that's one very clear issue that you keep in mind. So, of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is on a different level. He can sometimes, for the betterment of the community, bring things up. When he talks about munafiqeen who have hidden their agenda. So that's one thing. Number two, yes, there is exception to this rule of ghibat being haram. But I have to be very careful. I don't want this to be expanded more than what it is. If somebody comes to you and says that, my daughter has a proposal from so-and-so, he is coming to you to ask about that person because he believes that you know that person. Now, he might have a weakness which is not publicly known. Are you allowed to disclose that? In that one case, yes. Otherwise, the whole process of this person coming to you would be futile. Similarly, somebody comes to you and says, I want to go into business partnership with so-and-so. If you know something about him, in that case, you are allowed. So there are very limited situations where you are able to kind of talk about this person. Especially the marriage proposals. You can't say, well, it's ghibat, I don't want to do ghibat, and so, no, he's very good and this and that. Later on they find out something else and then they come to you, Baba, you knew about it, but no, it was haram, I couldn't say it. No, the whole process of istishara, consulting somebody else in case of marriage proposal is meaningful and has a good reason behind it, so there the exceptions would be there. Besides that, No. So you just have to, make sure that you are not exposing something which is not known to the people about an individual. If it is a public action, there is no problem. People sometimes say, oh, why do you talk about Yazid, gheebat? Baba, Yazid used to do things publicly. What are you talking about? They don't even understand the concept of gheebat. If I go and say something on the mimbar, I'm doing it publicly. You have a right to criticize me even in my absence. And I'm sure people do that. But that's not gheebat. That's not backbiting because I said something publicly. Or if I wrote something in the book which is published, it is a public statement that I made. And so I should be open to criticism or, whatever. And so that's the issue of, something which is not known and there's something which is done publicly.
Sorry, I just want to add supplement question to that because that was very, very informative. What about in terms of opinion of, say, when we go into a function and we comment on how someone looks or how someone behaves? Is that part of gheebat under the definition?
If it is something open, that's fine.